If you're Libra, and something inside you has felt off lately, like the air shifted, like a quiet weight settled on your chest, this message is for you. This isn't a comforting reading, and it didn't come gently. Something unexpected stepped in today. A truth that doesn't whisper. It interrupts. You may have felt it already. A sudden realization. A moment where your heart went quiet and you knew. Something is coming to light. Libra, this isn't about fear. It's about clarity. It's about balance being restored after something was hidden for far too long. So, take a breath. Ground yourself. If this resonates, stay with me. Leave a comment, subscribe if you feel called, and most importantly, trust what you're about to feel next. Because this story is only just beginning. Libra. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Not a room, not cards on a table, but a quiet space inside you. The kind of space you only notice when everything else goes silent. That's where this reading began. You didn't come here curious. You came here because something felt heavier than usual. Not dramatic, not loud, just dense. Like the air before a storm you can't see yet. And I know you felt it. Because Libra always does. You're the one who notices when balance shifts, even before anyone else admits it has. This wasn't the kind of energy that rushes in. It arrived slowly, carefully, almost respectfully. Like it didn't want to scare you, but it also refused to lie. There's a difference between discomfort and truth. And tonight, Spirit chose truth. Not the kind wrapped in comfort, but the kind that sits beside you, quietly, until you're ready to look at it. This reading didn't reach for love stories. It didn't open the door to money or success. It went somewhere deeper, somewhere older. It touched a layer of awareness you don't visit often, but you recognize instantly when you're there. Because your body knows, your breath changes, your chest tightens just a little, and suddenly you realize this isn't about what might happen. It's about what already did. There's a weight here that doesn't belong to fear. It belongs to recognition, to the moment when something unspoken finally admits it exists. Libra, you're not being asked to judge, or to fix, or to carry anyone else's burden. You're being asked to witness, to stand still long enough for truth to finish forming. Some truths arrive softly, others arrive because silence has run out. And this one couldn't wait any longer. If you're feeling a quiet ache right now, that's not weakness, that's empathy waking up. You've always had the ability to hold space without trying to control the outcome. That's your gift. And sometimes that gift draws you into moments like this. Moments that feel heavier, not because they're dark, but because they matter. Take a breath here. Let it be slow. Nothing is being taken from you. Something is being revealed. And as we move forward, you'll start to see why this message chose you specifically. Why your sense of balance matters more than ever. Why awareness, not reaction, is your power right now. There's more unfolding beneath the surface. Not chaos, not destruction, but a turning point. So, stay with me. Stay present. Trust the calm part of yourself that knows this is leading somewhere meaningful. Because what comes next doesn't arrive to overwhelm you. It arrives to restore what was quietly disturbed and to bring light exactly where it's needed most. Libra, stay with me for a moment. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise soften. What came forward next did not arrive as chaos. It arrived as recognition. You know that feeling when something you have been holding together quietly finally admits it cannot stay the same. Not because you failed, but because the truth grew too large to remain hidden. That is the energy that stepped in. It felt like a sudden shift beneath your feet. Not violent, not dramatic, just undeniable. Like standing in a familiar place and realizing the ground has subtly moved while you were busy keeping the peace. This is where the break happens. Not in the outer world first, but inside your understanding. You may have felt it as a sharp moment of clarity, a realization that landed without asking permission, a truth that did not argue. It simply stood there, and then came the sense of completion. Not relief yet, not celebration, completion. The kind that says this chapter has already ended even if part of you was still trying to rewrite it. Libra, this is not about loss for the sake of loss. It is about honesty returning to the room. Sometimes life removes the structure not to punish, but to reveal what was being supported by illusion. You are especially sensitive to this kind of moment, because you can feel imbalance before it has a name. You sense when harmony has been maintained at the cost of truth. And I want you to hear this clearly. You did not cause this shift. You did not trigger it by asking too much or caring too deeply. This was already unfolding. What you are witnessing now is the closing of a loop, a cycle that has run its course even if it still echoes in memory. You may notice emotions rising in waves, not overwhelming, just present. Moments of sadness, then calm, then a strange clarity that feels almost quiet. That is your intuition realigning. This energy does not come to scare you. It comes to ground you in what is real, in what can finally be named. Because once something is seen clearly, it can no longer control you from the shadows. There is a deep strength here, even if it does not look like strength yet. Strength is not always standing tall. Sometimes it is allowing the truth to stand on its own, without trying to soften it for others. And Libra, this is where your balance begins to return. Not by holding everything together, but by letting what is complete be complete. You are not being asked to rush forward. You are being asked to stand in awareness, to let the dust settle, to let the truth breathe. Because what follows this moment is not destruction. It is alignment. Something old has finished speaking, and something deeper is preparing to be heard. Stay present here. There is more unfolding beneath this clarity, not heavier, just truer. And as we move gently forward, you may begin to sense why this truth had to surface now and what it is quietly making room for next. Libra, let's slow this down together. After the clarity settled, after the truth stopped shaking the room, something quieter moved in. Not answers, not explanations, understanding. This is where the mystery lives. You might feel it as a pause inside your chest. A moment where your mind wants to ask why, but your soul already knows this isn't about details. Some things didn't happen loudly. They didn't announce themselves. They unfolded in closed rooms, in unspoken choices, in moments where silence was mistaken for permission. And you sensed it. Even if you couldn't prove it. Even if no one else wanted to name it, that's the weight of this energy. Not shock, but recognition. There are decisions made long ago that bent the natural order just enough to seem harmless at first. A line crossed quietly, a truth softened, a responsibility passed along instead of held, and time kept moving, until it couldn't anymore. Libra, you are not here to expose anyone. You're not here to point fingers or rewrite the past. You're here because awareness has a role, because consciousness itself is corrective. This is the lesson the Hierophant brings. Not punishment, not rules, but accountability at the soul level. It's the understanding that what we allow shapes what we inherit. What we ignore eventually asks to be seen. You may feel a deep sadness here, not personal, collective. A grief for how easily integrity can be compromised when comfort becomes more important than truth. But stay with me. This isn't a heavy message without purpose, because awareness is the beginning of healing. You're standing at a vantage point right now, high enough to see patterns, gentle enough to hold compassion, clear enough to know that judgment would only repeat the cycle. That's why this energy meets you as a witness, not a participant, not a victim. A witness carries light without needing to shine it harshly. And Libra, your presence here matters more than you realize. When one person becomes conscious of a pattern, it weakens. When one heart chooses integrity, it ripples. You don't need to confront. You don't need to correct. Your role is subtler, stronger. It's to live differently. To choose honesty where silence once lived. To choose balance that includes truth, not balance that avoids discomfort. And maybe that's why this message feels so personal. Because you've spent a lifetime sensing when things were off, even while holding space for everyone else. This moment asks you to turn that awareness inward, to trust your inner authority, to honor what you know without needing permission. There's wisdom unfolding here, old wisdom, the kind that doesn't rush. And as this layer settles, you may feel a strange calm returning. Not because everything is resolved, but because something essential has been acknowledged. That acknowledgement changes what comes next. So breathe here, let the lesson land gently. Because just ahead, the story moves from understanding into consequence and restoration. And you're about to see how truth, once recognized, begins to realign the world around you in ways both quiet and profound. Libra, come a little closer with me now. This part asks for your quiet attention. After understanding settled in, something heavier followed. Not loud, not sudden, just unmistakable. You may feel it like a door closing behind you, not slammed, just firmly shut, the kind of sound you only hear once everything else goes still. This is the energy of an ending, and it does not arrive gently. There is a weight here that lingers in the body, in the breath, in the spaces between thoughts. It carries regret, not yours alone, but present, thick, unavoidable. You might sense it as a tension you cannot name, a sadness that does not belong to today, yet insists on being felt now, a quiet heaviness that asks to be acknowledged. Because some endings are not clean, they leave behind echoes, unfinished emotions, words that arrive too late. There is guilt in this energy, the kind that does not announce itself. It hides behind explanations, behind justifications, behind stories told to make choices feel easier to live with. And there is blame too, passed from one hand to another, never quite landing where it belongs. Libra, I want you to hear this gently. Not every ending is fate. Some are the result of choices made in fear, in avoidance, in moments where power was mishandled or responsibility was set aside. You feel this because you are sensitive to imbalance. You know when something concludes without integrity, when a chapter ends, but the truth never received its voice. That is why this ending feels suspicious to you. Not dramatic, just unresolved. And yet, even here, there is wisdom, because awareness changes how endings settle in the soul. You are not here to reopen wounds. You are not here to carry the weight of someone else's regret. You are here to witness what happens when truth is delayed, and to learn from it. This is where compassion meets discernment, where empathy does not excuse harm, where understanding does not mean acceptance. You may notice a soft anger surface, or a quiet grief. Let it move through. Do not rush it away. These feelings are not here to trap you. They are here to release you. An ending that lacks honesty cannot follow you forever once it is seen. Clearly, its power fades when it is named. Libra, you have spent much of your life keeping peace for others, smoothing edges, holding balance even when the cost was your own clarity. This moment invites you to choose differently, to let an ending be what it truly was, incomplete, flawed, human, and still over. There is strength in allowing something to end without rewriting it to feel better. There is healing in acknowledging that some apologies arrive too late to change the outcome. That does not make you cold, it makes you honest. As this ending settles, you may feel a strange lightness begin to appear, subtle, almost imperceptible. That is space returning, space for truth, space for balance that includes reality, not illusion. And as you stand here, at the quiet edge of what is closed, something else is already forming, not as punishment, not as loss, but as a response. Because when an ending is finally acknowledged for what it was, the universe begins to answer in its own way. And Libra, what follows this realization is not silence, it is movement, a shift that does not ask for permission, a realignment that begins beyond your control. So, stay present. Let the last echoes fade, because just ahead, you will begin to feel how truth answers endings not with chaos, but with balance restored. Libra, let me speak to you softly here. This is where the air changes. After the ending settled, after the echoes faded, something steady stepped forward. Not loud, not emotional, certain. You may feel it as a quiet pressure behind your ribs, like the scales inside you are slowly finding their center again. Not because everything is resolved, but because something deeper has begun to move. This is justice in its truest form, not punishment, not revenge, not anger dressed up as righteousness. This is balance correcting itself. You have always understood this, even when others didn't. You know that real justice does not rush. It does not shout. It waits until truth is undeniable. Then it acts without drama. That is the energy surrounding you now. What was hidden can no longer remain unseen, not because someone forced it open, but because the structure that protected it has weakened. Truth has weight, and eventually, it presses through everything that tried to bury it. Libra, this is not about watching someone fall. It is about witnessing alignment return. Every choice leaves a mark. Every silence carries consequence. Every decision made out of fear, avoidance, or ego sets something in motion. And now, those motions are completing their arc. You may feel a strange calm mixed with gravity, a knowing that you do not need to intervene. You do not need to explain. You do not need to justify anything. Life is already responding. This is karmic justice as a natural law, like gravity, like time, like breath returning to rhythm after a long imbalance. It does not ask your opinion. It does not require your effort. It simply restores order where disorder lingered too long. And here is where your role becomes important, not as a judge, not as a messenger, but as someone who understands that fairness begins within. You are learning to trust that you do not have to hold the scales yourself. You do not have to tip them back into place. The universe knows how. This allows you to release something heavy, the responsibility you were never meant to carry, the belief that peace must be earned through sacrifice. True balance does not require you to disappear. You may notice people or situations shifting without your involvement, conversations changing tone, energy withdrawing or realigning. Do not chase explanations. Do not seek closure where truth has already closed the door. Justice is not always visible in the moment. Sometimes it works quietly. Sometimes it rearranges things behind the scenes until the outer world has no choice but to follow. And Libra, this is where trust replaces control. Trust that what you sensed was real. Trust that what ended needed to end. Trust that consequences do not need your permission to arrive. There is dignity in letting life complete its own corrections. As this balance activates, something else begins to lift inside you, a subtle relief, a sense that you can stand upright again without bracing. This is not victory, it is equilibrium. And equilibrium creates space. Space for boundaries that are honored, space for truth that does not need defending, space for a future built on clarity rather than compromise. Stay present here. Let this moment settle into your bones. Because once justice restores order, the story does not end. It shifts. And what comes next will ask you to protect your energy, not through fear, but through awareness. And you will feel it before you see it. Libra, let me stay close with you here. This part requires presence, not fear, presence. As balance begins to restore itself, something else becomes visible, not as a threat, but as a signal. You may feel it as a subtle tightening in your awareness, like the room hasn't changed, but you suddenly notice where the corners are. This is not paranoia, this is perception sharpening. There are movements that happen quietly, intentions that never announce themselves, plans that rely on you staying kind, staying accommodating, staying unaware, and you are beginning to see them now. Not because you went looking, but because truth has a way of exposing what can no longer hide behind charm. Libra, you have always believed in goodwill, in giving people the benefit of the doubt, in smoothing over tension so everyone can breathe. That part of you is beautiful, but it has also made you visible to those who move through envy rather than integrity. This is where the warning arrives, not as alarm, as clarity. Some actions were never meant to be obvious. They were designed to unfold slowly, in conversations behind your back, in decisions made without your voice, present, in narratives shaped to redirect responsibility. You didn't imagine it, you felt it long before you could explain it, that quiet unease, that moment where something felt off but nothing looked wrong. That was your intuition speaking in a language you trust, and now it is asking you to listen without second guessing. Not everyone who smiles wishes you well. Not everyone who agrees respects your boundaries. Not everyone who stays close is aligned with your good. This is not a call to harden your heart. It is a call to refine your discernment. There is a difference. You are not being asked to confront, or accuse, or withdraw in fear. You are being asked to protect your energy through awareness. Boundaries do not require explanation. Distance does not require justification. Silence can be a form of wisdom. You may notice yourself stepping back naturally, pausing before responding, choosing what you share more carefully. That is not you becoming cold. That is you becoming clear. Libra, clarity is kindness to yourself. There is nothing wrong with recognizing when dynamics are no longer balanced, when exchanges feel one-sided, when generosity is met with quiet resentment rather than appreciation. You are allowed to adjust, and here is the part that matters most. Trust what your body tells you, the tightness, the hesitation, the calm certainty that something does not sit right. These are not flaws, they are signals. As you honor them, something begins to shift around you. People reveal themselves without being asked. Situations resolve by moving away from you. What once felt confusing becomes obvious through absence. This is not loss, it is alignment. You are not here to fix hidden agendas. You are here to stop carrying them. And as you release that weight, your energy becomes quieter, cleaner, more protected without effort. This is how you move forward now, not armored, but aware. Let this awareness settle gently. It does not need to turn into suspicion. It simply needs to exist. Because just beyond this moment, something softer begins to emerge. A reminder of why your sensitivity matters, why your heart still chooses compassion, why healing remains possible even after clarity. And as you hold your boundaries with grace, another layer of the story prepares to reveal itself. Not about those who acted in shadows, but about the light that remains. And that light is asking for your attention next. Libra, stay here with me. This is the quiet heart of the story. After awareness sharpened, after boundaries settled into place, a gentler presence entered the space. Not loud, not demanding, just unmistakably present. You may feel it as a softness around the edges of your thoughts, like the room grows still, not empty, held. This energy does not come from those who caused harm. It comes from those who carried it, from lives touched unfairly, from moments that never received the dignity of being fully seen. And before you pull away, hear this. This is not here to frighten you. It is here because compassion is a language your soul understands. Some truths do not arrive asking for answers. They arrive asking to be witnessed. There are stories that ended without balance, experiences that were misunderstood, pain that passed through the world quietly, without ceremony. Those energies do not demand justice through anger. They ask for acknowledgement, for remembrance, for the simple grace of being held in awareness. Libra, this is why you feel this so personally. Your heart knows how to hold space without trying to control the outcome. You understand that healing does not always come from fixing. Sometimes it comes from honoring. There is something profoundly human in this moment, a reminder that empathy is not weakness, that compassion does not erase truth, it completes it. You may feel a tenderness here, a lump in your throat, a sense of reverence that slows your breath. Let it. This is not sorrow without purpose. This is connection. You are being invited to stand as a quiet channel, not to carry grief, but to allow dignity to return where it was once denied. When we pause to acknowledge suffering, something shifts. The weight lightens. The silence softens. The world remembers itself. This is the role Libra plays so naturally, restoring balance not through force, but through presence, through choosing not to look away, through holding light steady, even when it trembles. You do not need the details. You do not need to relive anything. Your awareness is enough. A simple moment of intention, a quiet prayer in your own words, a breath that carries respect rather than fear. These acts ripple farther than you can see. And as you offer this compassion outward, something unexpected happens inward. Your own heart steadies. Your own nervous system softens. Your own sense of purpose clarifies. Healing is reciprocal. It moves through you, not from you. This is not about being chosen to suffer. It is about being trusted to care. Libra, your sensitivity is not a burden here. It is a bridge. And as this moment settles, you may notice a gentle warmth begin to replace the heaviness. Not because everything is resolved, but because something essential has been honored. That honoring changes the tone of what comes next. The story does not remain in mourning. It moves toward restoration, toward the understanding that light does not erase darkness. It gives it context. So, breathe with me. Let this compassion land. Because as this chapter closes, another opens quietly, one that speaks not of loss, but of meaning, not of endings, but of what healing makes possible. And you will feel the shift before a single word explains it. Libra. Let's take this last breath together, not to end abruptly, but to let everything settle where it belongs. This reading doesn't stop because there is nothing more to say. It pauses because the heart can only hold so much at once. And right now, the weight is meaningful. You have walked through truth without flinching. You have stood in awareness without turning away. And because of that, something subtle has already changed inside you. The truth is no longer hidden, not outside of you, and not within you. You don't need to chase it anymore. You don't need to replay it. It has found its place. And justice, real justice, is already in motion. Not as a spectacle, not as a story you need to follow closely, but as a quiet correction. the kind that restores balance without asking for attention, the kind that unfolds whether anyone is watching or not. Libra, this is important. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were meant to witness it with clarity, and then choose how you live forward. Healing does not begin when everything makes sense. It begins when compassion meets awareness, when you can say, "I see what happened," without letting it harden your heart. That is where you are now. You may notice a softness returning, not weakness, tenderness, a willingness to stay open without being exposed, a strength that does not require armor. This is what healing looks like in real life: quiet, honest, grounded. It does not erase pain, it gives it context. It allows meaning to rise from what once felt unbearable. So, take a moment here, not to dwell, but to honor. Honor what was revealed, honor what was felt, honor what will never be forgotten. You can do this in your own way, in silence, in prayer, in a thought held gently for those who deserve to be remembered, and then bring that light back to yourself. Because you are part of the living too. You are allowed to continue, to breathe easier, to move forward without guilt. Libra, your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is the reason you can restore balance without force. It is the reason you can hold complexity without collapsing. And as you carry this awareness with you, you will notice how differently you walk through the world, more grounded, more discerning, more at peace with what you cannot change. That is not indifference, that is wisdom. Let this be the moment you trust yourself fully, your intuition, your boundaries, your quiet strength. If this message touched something personal, you are not alone. Leave a comment if you feel called. Stay connected. Subscribe if this space feels safe for you. But most of all, trust yourself. Because the light you were asked to hold was never meant to burn you, it was meant to guide you. And as this story rests, something new begins softly in the background, not louder, just clearer. A path shaped by truth, balanced by compassion, and steady enough to walk forward without looking back. Stay with that feeling. It knows exactly where it is taking you. Libra, before you go, stay with this feeling for just a moment longer, because if this message reached you, it wasn't by chance, and it wasn't meant to pass through you. Quickly, something in you recognized the truth tonight, not with fear, but with calm understanding. That's how you know healing has already begun. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to explain what you felt to anyone else. What matters is that you felt it, and you trusted yourself enough to stay present. That alone changes things. If your heart softened, if something clicked quietly inside you, if this felt personal in a way you can't fully explain yet, leave a comment below. Even a single word is enough. You're not speaking into the void here. You're speaking into a community that understands. If this space feels grounding to you, like a place where you can breathe and listen without judgment, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It tells the algorithm yes, but more importantly, it tells yourself that your inner world matters. Libra, trust this. You are learning how to hold truth without losing your softness, how to stay compassionate without abandoning your boundaries, how to walk forward with clarity instead of doubt. That is not an ending, that is a beginning. The journey doesn't stop here. There are more messages unfolding, more layers revealing themselves gently in the right time. And when the next message arrives, you'll be ready for it. Until then, take this calm with you. Carry your light quietly, and above all, trust yourself. I'll see you in the next reading.